Welcome to the Get Fit Guys, quick and dirty tips to slim down and shape up. My name is Ben Greenfield. I'm the Get Fit Guy, and in today's episode, I'm going to tell you about 5 foods that aren't as healthy as you'd think. Now, I have a master's degree in exercise physiology, a certification in sports nutrition, and over a decade of follow-up studies, thousands of books read, and ongoing continuing education units. Yet, I find it flabbergasting to see the same foods get marketed over and over again as quote-unquote healthy foods for fit people. Foods that I personally used and accepted as healthy for a very long period of time prior to finally realizing that they weren't doing my body, brain, or biomarkers any favors at all. Now, in no order of importance, here are 5 such foods that fit people get fooled into thinking are healthy. Number 1 is nut butter. While peanut butter, which is technically a legume, not a nut, is the biggest culprit and tends to be comprised of moldy, rancid peanuts and high amounts of sugar, salts, and vegetable oil, many fitness enthusiasts are stuffing themselves full of hundreds of hidden calories from just about every other form of nut butter marketed as health food. So think about it this way. If you had to shell each nut you ate, how many nuts would you eat? Especially if weight loss or weight control is your goal, that might be a single handful. Shelling can be exhausting. And that single handful, brace yourself, comes out to not much more than a teaspoon of nut butter, and not the 2 to 3 tablespoons of almond, cashew, peanut, and other nut butters so commonly consumed and so easy to consume in large amounts in shakes, smoothies, and straight out of the jar. A healthy alternative would be maybe just a handful of soaked, sprouted, or raw almonds, or a teaspoon of nut butter, not tablespoons and tablespoons in your smoothie. Next is whole wheat bread. Now, whole wheat bread, especially when derived from modern forms of wheat grown for high-yield crops, tends to be notoriously high in the protein gluten, which is a natural protein. When consumed in high amounts like this, however, it can cause everything from gut to nervous system inflammation. There's books like No Grain, No Pain, and Grain Brain, and Wheat Belly that really delve into the science behind this. In addition, despite it being marketed as a healthy brown carbohydrate, it can spike your blood sugar levels higher than a candy bar. A better alternative? Well, try using something like a seaweed nori wrap or a giant piece of butter lettuce or kale to make your sandwich rather than bread. Or opt for a more natural bread that's fermented, which pre-digests that gluten. Naturally made sourdough is a perfect example of this. Next is trail mix. I used to wander into a convenience store and look for trail mixes, thinking them to be the healthiest choice that I could make. The problem is, upon closer inspection of the label, most trail mix is chock full of canola oil, sugar, and concentrated sources of even more sugar in the chocolate, dried fruits, and other sweets that get added to that trail mix to satisfy our Western palates. Now, don't get me wrong, not all trail mix is bad, but you should consider making your own. It's really easy. Try a handful of dried blueberries, which are slightly lower on the glycemic sugar spiking index, combined with some raw, soaked, or sprouted walnuts, almonds, or Brazil nuts. Toss in some unsweetened coconut flakes and cacao nibs, and you have yourself a healthy trail mix. Next is milk. For both recovery and muscle building, I personally used to drink plenty of milk, which is marketed as the perfect post-workout food. And sure, it works. After all, it was designed to help tiny mammals turn into big mammals. The problem is homogenized, pasteurized milk separates the natural milk proteins from the fats, and these isolated milk proteins can cause plenty of inflammation and issues like acne, eczema, asthma, and much more. In addition, as you no doubt know, milk can also contain contaminants such as antibiotics and hormones. A better choice? Look for unsweetened coconut milk, unsweetened almond milk, unsweetened rice milk, or if you really want to get adventurous, look for a clean local farm where you could get raw goat's milk or raw cow's milk. Next is energy bars. If you look at the label of most energy bars, you'll see the same typical ingredients repeated over and over again: sugar, fructose, maltodextrin, which is just a big form of sugar, canola oil, soybean oil, milk powder, heavy doses of chocolate, and a host of other preservatives that aren't doing your body any favors. Now, there's certainly some healthy energy bars out there. Take Lara Bar, for example. It just has fruit and nuts. That's it. So before you go mowing down that energy bar that makes hefty health claims on the label, check twice at the tiny print on the back of the package. You may just be eating a bunch of Frankenfuels. So what kind of things do I personally use to support my own performance and get calories that are chock full of healthy nutrients that don't actually do damage to my body? Well, here's a few staples that you'll find in my fridge. Avocados, chia seeds, Brazil nuts, almonds, coconut milk, blueberries, bone broth, plenty of plants of all colors, nori wraps, fish, eggs, and organic beef. Those are just a few examples, but hopefully they get your wheels turning about the type of natural items you can have on hand or travel with that help support healthy activity levels without doing damage to your body and without swallowing hook, line, and sinker what we've been led to believe is actually healthy. Now, if you have questions, comments, or feedback about these 5 foods that fit people, get fooled, are healthy, then you can join the conversation over at facebook.com/getfitguy. And until next time, I'm Ben Greenfield, the Get Fit Guy, asking you, what are you waiting for? Go get fit.